I am part of a group of 17 people. We listen to the music. We have parameters that we have to judge the music by. And then we make the decision as to whether or not it was created with the dance floor in mind. There's a lot of pop records that go through the screening committee, and we kicked out a lot of them. The Rihanna record, though, if you listen to it, it may not be for David Morales, but for 90% of commercial DJs, that's a dance record. So, unfortunately, when it comes to the voting process, we don't have enough dance-oriented voting members to vote that Rihanna would not win and somebody else would win. It's that kind of...
That's the issue that Sharam brought up. There's strength in numbers. If we had more people out of the dance community joining theirs and voting, things might be different.
That's why I'm here. I'm here to tell people...
But just anybody is not allowed to join NARIS.
You need to have your name on six projects.
You need 6 credits.
Yeah.
That's easy.
And it doesn't matter if it's A&R, publisher, writer, executive producer. If you get your name on 6 projects in any capacity, I can help you get into the voting.
Don't you think that's too easy?
Well, it used to be that you would have...
Obviously not. I mean, not enough members.
It used to be a little more stringent, and it had to be in the same, like you had to be a producer.
I want to be a member.
Can I ask you a question? How many additions do you get a year in terms of like additional people voting or registering? Is it something that's growing?
Well, I can't speak for NARIS because I don't really have those figures. There is a 17,000 membership, I believe it is, right? Something like that, Kurosh. There's 17,000 voting members.
What is the age demographic of that as well?
It doesn't matter. You can be of any age. But the problem is if you're a voting member, you can pick the categories that you vote for. So there's a lot of people that are voting for dance records that don't really know dance music. They went to a club in 1970 and they knew disco music, so today they know dance music.
So how can you guys, I mean, this is obviously beyond us.
I don't want to dominate here, I just wanted to clarify the reality.
This is actually something that I think can amount to something. How can that change? How can you promote what's needed to get new kids or new producers, relevant producers to not only become members but actually vote? How do we do that? I mean, every year we talk about this thing, but it's not the same thing.
I think we need to keep talking about it because the process is not going to change. As long as the Grammys are there and as long as the Grammy is a member organization and the awards are a peer recognition, the process is not going to change. So the only way to change the result that's coming out of that system is the strength and numbers thing. You know, if you look at hip-hop used to be in a non-televised category. Well, guess what? There are enough people that are voting for hip-hop records that you have several televised categories. You have a whole slew of categories that recognize hip-hop records.
I think it helps that they sold a lot of records.
Absolutely, but so do we.
They cannot deny, they cannot ignore that movement. As long as they try to ignore that movement, they had to catch up because they couldn't understand how these little labels were making all this money without no marketing. They weren't spending $1 million on marketing or videos. It was just, selling shit out of the trunk, and they made mad money. And they couldn't, how guys like Suge Knight and all that, they saw what was going on. We cannot ignore as much as they wanted to ignore it. Those major labels, Universal Warners, they wanted no part of that stuff because it was just dirty to them.
But this dance music is the same way. They ignored dance music for 20-some years, and all of a sudden it's like a hot commodity. Everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon.
Because it's all about the money.
Whatever's making them money, they're going to jump.
You know what I mean? So there we go.
I guess it goes back to it being pop, because popular at the moment. Dance music is popular. It is the forefront of on everybody's radio at the moment.
And that's the problem. See, the problem with our industry is a lot of people, I would say 80% of the people that are in the industry, they're too cool for school. They wouldn't come to a panel like this. They wouldn't talk about it. They just want to be in their little underground hole, and they don't want to have anything to do with anything else. They want to be cool. They just want to be cool. And I think part of Grammy's responsibility is it's an international thing. And it's, I don't see a Grammy, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see the Grammy panel at ADE. I don't see it at any of the other music conferences. And I think that would really help because a lot of those too cool for school producers, or promoters or whatever, they come to those, conferences, and maybe there they can be educated about what really it takes for this thing, because they're okay. I know so many friends that they're like, oh, Grammy, what the hell is that? And all of a sudden they get nominated, like, holy shit, I'm going to LA, So they all want it. They don't talk about it, but they all want it. So that's, I think, a bit of education and promotion as far as what this is, how you can do that, I think would really help.
Sharam, I think it's actually a brilliant idea and something worth discussing further.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Why isn't there Grammys cable in here to sign people up?
We do have 2 reps from the Florida chapter here who are going to identify themselves and help out whoever would like to sign up. It's a very easy process. So, well, after the event. So, but Ramon, thanks for asking about that. Sharam, I think outreach is really important. I think what you just said is an absolutely brilliant idea. You're right, it hasn't been done. And, I will certainly make a point of discussing that. But, just to everybody in the room, if you qualify, if you love dance music, one important contribution you can make is to actually join. It's dirt cheap. And if you vote, all this, it's like, if you don't like what's going on in Washington, vote. It's that simple. I mean, that's our system, and the Grammys are no different. Now the thing about block voting, David, that's like sort of the expert panel. That's the 201 class that we're going to have. It's on a different floor. But look, if you want to call a kid by its name, the voting process is not perfect. You do have voting blocks. They're not called that. You do have major labels with staffs in the hundreds that have members that vote a particular way, so there is an element of that. But I think even if we take that into account, saying that, okay, the New York chapter decides to blackball somebody because they don't like him, so they're not going to vote for this guy, there's still the principle that there's strength in numbers, and the principle that we can only advance dance music within the Grammys and get more recognition is by more of us joining and participating in the voting process. I don't think that changes. Can you agree with that?